Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James. Still getting back from my sore throat that I had. Excuse me. But I'm excited to go over another game. This one's going to be playing against another top player in our Wednesday night tournament over at Complete Chess, Jason Loving. And this game, very interesting. I thought I got a pretty good little advantage in the opening. I thought things were going well. And then at some point, Jason just starts out playing me. And I'm in a lost position. Unfortunately for him, he does make a last minute bad move and then ends up losing the game. Well, with that being said, let's go and take a look at it. Here we go. I was playing the white side of this, and I went ahead and play. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm playing the black side of this. He went e4. I went c5. Knight of 3, e6, and then he plays d3. Wah, wah. At this point, he's decided to play the King's Indian attack against me with the white pieces. And actually, this setup right here that he did is actually very good whenever black does play the e6. With that being said, there is plenty of ways for black to equalize in this one, and this is just one of the ways that I like to play against King's Indian attack. I went ahead and played d5 right away. Knight b d2. This is all common theory. Knight c6, g3. And here I played the Knight Ge7 plan. The idea here for this one is that, well, a lot of times white gets a really good bind, as we've seen in a lot of Bobby Fischer games. He's the one who made this really popular, especially in the United States, was to play e5 and get a free attack on the knight. Well, modern day now, we don't usually like that to happen, so we are going to end up fianchettoing and not put the knight to f6 altogether. With that being said, this knight f6 line, or the knight f6 line, scores 38% for white on Lichess, and the g6 or the Knight Ge7 plan scores a better score with 36 or 31%. All right, so excuse me, Knight Ge7 got played, pawn g6 castles, bishop g7, rook e1 castles, c3, and a5 here. Here, of course, black is going to be going for a queenside attack, just like he would in a regular French. And while white typically builds up on the king side with h4, knight f1, and, trying to play on the dark squares over here. That being said, black is well equipped this time to deal with this because he fianchettoed. And when he fianchettoed, that gives you a lot of extra padding to stop the attack. Excuse me. So a4 got played, pawn b6, queen b3. At this point already, I was very happy with my position. I'm not sure what he's doing here on the queen side. I think he's hoping maybe I'll take on e4, which typically is bad for black in these games, just because after taking, yeah, here already Computer saying white's winning, the knight jumps to c4 here, and yeah, you know what, this looks pretty good. There's a lot of pressure on the b6 pawn. All right, well, I went ahead and played bishop a6, putting pressure on the d3 pawn, which is undefended. Bishop f1, in here I broke my rule. I knew taking on e4 and opening a position was not going to be a good idea. But I decided to start considering it. With that being said, I wasn't just sure just yet, so I ended up playing rook b8, maybe b5 in the future. He saw this idea, and he played this really interesting move, knight b1, which I think is correct. The idea here is to play knight to a3. Now, if I do play b5 right away here, I can't say I'm too happy with this. After a takes, bishop takes, well, the queen can just move away. Let's just say it moves to, I don't know, c2. And now maybe knight a3, and you can see here, I'm not getting the kind of play that I'm really wanting to here. And I'm not even sure what my breakthrough is just yet. I got to find a way to start opening up many lines. With that being said, I ended up playing d takes e4. I thought that this square right here on d3 was going to be my penetration square, but Jason did a phenomenal job on defending this and actually pushing me back. So, takes, queen d3 check, king g2, and knight to d4 here. I'm really hoping to get something opened up here. I could just play something like rook f to d8, but yeah, knight d4 I thought was very forcing, and I saw the light squares weak, and I was really hoping maybe I can get a pawn to c4 at some point. Of course, if he takes, which is definitely bad for him, c takes d4, now you see my lines are opening up, and his pieces are all still asleep over here. So I was very excited about this prospect of happening. Unfortunately for me, he did play the best move, and after I played knight d4, he just calmly defends with queen to d1. Here I don't really want to trade queens because, well, the endgame here is going to be a lot more solid for him, especially because I have a backwards pawn over here. I played knight takes f3, and he played queen takes f3. Of course, he's not going to fall for the simple queen takes d3, knight takes e1 check, which was not really the plan. Again, the idea was just not to trade queens. And here I ran away with my queen to a6, knight a3, and rook b to d8. Looks like the rook has finished all the work it can do, and defending a pawn is not really the best of it. Already here with knight to a3, white is already in a better position as far as computer's saying. And I have to agree with it just because although the d3 square is weak and there is penetration here, I really can't hold this too long. And the knight is actually doing a great job here. And then I can go to c4, I can go to b5. The bishop has good squares. My knight and bishop, I guess my bishop's just not doing as all it could be doing. And my knight is struggling to find a good square for itself. Well, here we go. Queen e2 got played, trying to trade. Of course, I don't want to. Rook d3. Bishop g5, a very nice move, gaining a tempo. And the idea is to play the rook over to d1 here so that, well, you can pin it and win it. Now, you have to be careful. I did play pawn f6 here. And for those thinking about playing maybe something like rook to d1 here, uh-oh, be careful. Your queen is undefended. So rook takes g3 check. King f1. Rook g1 check, and you end up winning. With that being said, he could have played rook a to d1 right away, but almost the same thing will happen just as in the game. I'll just bring my rook over to defend. So I played f6, attacking the bishop. He brought it back. Rook f to d8, and now the rook to d1. Now here, there's one move that I should have played here, and I'll let you guys make the decision. What is the best move here for black? Should I play pawn c4 here, or play queen to b7? One of these is definitely better than the other one. All right, remember, this is just a strategic idea. This is not about a winning tactical sequence. Hopefully you push pause. Hopefully you try to figure it out. Here I made the worst move, and I played pawn to c4. Definitely queen to b7 was okay here. The idea is very simple. Let's just try to get out the pin. And here you can't take on d3 right away because queen takes e4 check for the fork. With that being said, what is wrong with c4? Well, after you play c4 here, you really start to notice there's a lot of bad things going on here. There's definitely knight takes c4 tactics in the future. I opened up the bishop, so the bishop can now attack my pawn on b6, which now constantly has to be defended. And yeah, my pawns on the queen side are just becoming really weak. Rather, his are not at all. If I could have got my queen to b7, c6, and then put pressure on a4, maybe then I could place this c4 idea. But yeah, as of right now, this is just a really bad, if not just losing position already. All right, he played f3 here, which I was happy to see. Knight c6, rook takes, and here again I made the wrong decision. Let's see if you can figure it out. Which way do you take here? Do you take with the pawn or do you take with the rook? They both have their pros, they both have their cons. Taking with the pawn here, well, it gives you a nice pass pawn. The con here is, well, you can see that this pawn is not going anywhere because, well, it is being blockaded very nicely. But it does keep white's pieces at bay. All right, what about playing rook takes d3? Well, rook takes d3 is also a good move. It's also giving the rook to the open file. And there's a little bit of tactics right here. Which one's better? Again, I made the wrong decision, and I played rook takes d3. Although c takes d3, the pawn looks very weak. It's actually kind of hard to attack, and at least gives me some space for my pieces. Computer's giving this at about even right here. Rather, with my move of playing rook takes, well, after rook takes, here he did a very good job, Jason did, and was able to kill my attack and kill all the prospects I had in this position. He played rook d1, which is what I was expecting. I played knight e5. The idea here was, for me, very simple. I'm going to trade rooks, and then play my knight to d3, and you know what? My knight's actually doing pretty good here. And then I can reroute my bishop, and yeah, my game is going great. But again, here Jason finds the strongest move. Can you find the move here to keep a +1 advantage? I'd hopefully push pause, hopefully try to figure it out. Here Jason found the beautiful bishop to d4. And I'm just like, how is this working? Everything just looks bad for me. You know, yeah, here I had to just exchange rooks, which I knew was losing here, but I didn't know what else to do. He's starting to take my bishop. That being said, computer says, Jesse, all you have to do is just play bishop f8, which is a move I was not really considering at all. I mean, I did look at it, but I just didn't like it. After bishop takes, well, you can't take on a3 because, well, bishop just takes on f6, wins the pawn. Okay, so do I just take back? That's what computer's saying to do here, and I must say I'm not too fond of this idea. Knight b5, and now this is being threatened, so rook takes, queen takes, and I guess the queen just jumps back to c8. I mean, I guess I can see now why the computer's liking it, but even then, it's just something, you know, who wants to give themselves double pawns when they don't have to? With that being said, I played the worst move, knowing it was worse, and I played rook takes on d1. Why is this bad? Well, queen takes d1, and the knight jumps to d3, and now he undermines me with pawn to b3, and this is just terrible here. Here, my knight is going to be attacked, and also the pawn on c4 is just going to be gone here too. I have no choice but to take on b3 again. And after queen takes b3, +2 advantage. Here I knew this was just lost and there was nothing to do. The queen's threatening the pawn on e6. The queen's threatening on b6. Only one move to play. Knight c5. With that being said, I did see a little tactical sequence, and I ended up playing knight e1 check first, just checking to see if he knew what to play. I mean, at this level, I pretty much knew he knew what he was up to, but yeah, he played everything correctly here. There's only one move that does not lose here, and of course he plays it. King to f2. Everything else was losing. If king f1, you know, checkmate in 4. Check, king up. Knight takes f3 check, king h5. And yeah, check, and then mate here. Oh, checkmate right here. And all the other variations are like that too. If the king jumps back to, where is it at? G1. Well, maybe not checkmate here, but knight takes f3, check just wins the pawn. And after king f2, knight takes d4, or computer's giving knight g5 here is a stronger move than knight takes d4. So again, there's just lots of moves here, and black's you know, not dead just yet. And of course, if the worst move to play, king h1, is checkmate in 2. Queen f1 check, bishop g1, and queen takes f3. With that being said, of course, the strong loving is not going to fall for any of these bad ideas. He just played the king over to f2. And so after knight e1 check, king f2, and then my knight just has to jump back. And king e3 was not expecting this. And knight c5 gets played. Only way to try and hold on to the material. Okay, so he went ahead and played queen b5 here. And this loses the advantage of the game. What did you play here? It was white to move, and I had seen the winning idea, and I was surprised he did not play it. But I'll let it up to you. White to move, you can trade into a good endgame here. Remember, full points, you have to figure out why this is winning. Right here, he should have just played bishop takes c5, b takes c5, and there's 2 moves here, but I think knight c4 is just, you know, clenching the game. Here the idea is very simple. You're going to play queen b5, and the a5 and c5 pawn are just targets. And this is a +2, +3 advantage here. There's nothing that I can really do. My queen can't even move anywhere without dropping pawns. And, well, one pawn drop is just going to be a pass pawn over here on the a file or the c file. Okay. So, I went ahead. He went ahead and played knight c4. And then he played this other move of queen to b5, and here there was only one line to hold the position. I'm very happy I was able to find it. I only had about like maybe 8 minutes, and he had about 12 minutes left on the clock. I, you know, buckled down, did not give up. Everything else is just losing here. What do you play? Again, I encourage you to push pause here, see if you can find a way to hold the position. All right, after analyzing this for quite a while, I did find the only way. Queen takes b5, a takes b5, bishop f8. And this was based off the knight being undefended. And here you have to be very careful because the idea for him was to play knight c4, and the b6 pawn is very weak. Unfortunately here, I think he just got a little too antsy and he blundered right away with bishop takes f6. And well, black to move, just knight d7 won the game pretty fast. With that being said, this other idea of knight c4 was the idea. You play pawn e5, the bishop's trapped. Bishop takes, and well, computer's giving this as a draw. Although I would be happy to play this as black, as I have the bishop. Although I do have this pawn that I have to defend for quite a while, I do have a passed pawn over here, so, well, I guess white can just move their king over here. Again, it's a chess game here. It's knight versus bishop, so it would be very interesting. And I'm sure at some point the knight might try to jump to d5 too. With that being said, again, he just blundered, unfortunately, and yeah, he played, let's see, back to the game. After this, I played bishop f8, and he took on f6, and yeah, just game over. Knight d7, double attack on both pieces. Here he played knight c4 in hope. Unfortunately, he did miss the second idea. I played knight takes f6, and he resigned. Of course, knight takes b6 is losing because of, yeah, bishop c5 check, and I'm just up 2 extra pieces here, and if he doesn't get an extra pawn for that, I'm easily able to hold this position. Yeah, unfortunately, that was just bad luck for him. Again, he played a very, very nice game, but made a little slip at the end. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed the game. We'll see you in the next one.